Your husband is dead. 50,000 Romans watched it happen. A lion tore him apart while the crowd screamed for more. Now you sit alone in a stone cell buried deep beneath the largest arena ever built. The roar above has faded into a distant echo. Sandals scrape stone as people leave, already forgetting what they saw. One by one, torches are extinguished. Darkness spreads. Silence settles. Then you hear something that freezes your breath. Footsteps, slow, heavy, intentional. They are coming closer. A long shadow stretches across the doorway. A man steps forward into the torchlight. He is the gladiator who survived today. His armor is broken. His skin is smeared with blood that does not belong to him. A guard stands behind him, keys clinking softly. The lock turns. The door opens. The gladiator points at you. This is not fiction. This was ordinary life in the Roman Empire. This is what happened after the crowd went home. This is the part history books avoid. The suffering did not end when the game stopped. That was when it truly began. Roman writers recorded this themselves. The proof is carved into the stone beneath the arena. Stay until the end, because once you understand what happened here, Rome will never look heroic again. Movies have trained us to see gladiators as symbols of honor and rebellion. We see brave men fighting beneath the sun while crowds cheer. What films never show is what happened after the sand was cleaned and the gates were closed. That was when the spectacle turned inward. Entertainment became administration. Violence became routine. Modern historians had to invent a phrase to describe it: carnal victory. The Romans did not need a name. To them it was normal. We know this because writers like Martial, Juvenal, and Seneca described it openly. They lived in a world where conquered women were kept beneath arenas and distributed as rewards. Not metaphorically, literally. This was not the work of corrupt guards. The state itself organized it. The same government that built roads and aqueducts also planned sexual violence with the same precision. Rome perfected the conversion of human suffering into a system. To understand this, you must understand how Rome turned people into property. When Roman armies conquered a land, they did not just defeat an enemy. They processed entire populations. Men were sent to mines or arenas. Children were sold across the empire. Women were labeled captives, property of the state. Under Roman law, they were no longer considered human. They were objects. No different from livestock, harm done to them was not a crime. Rome reinforced this reality through spectacle. The games were not just entertainment. They were a warning. When prisoners were torn apart by animals, the message was clear. This is the cost of resistance. During midday shows, condemned prisoners were forced to reenact myths. The deaths were real. Martial described a man dressed as Orpheus torn apart by a bear. He described a woman forced into a myth involving a bull, subjected to public brutality until she died. Families watched. Children laughed. Vendors sold snacks. This was normal life. This same system fed the treatment of women beneath the arena. Gladiators lived in contradiction. They were slaves with no rights, yet they were celebrities. Their names were scratched on walls. Noble women obsessed over them. Some bribed guards for secret meetings. Their sweat was scraped from their bodies and sold as cosmetics. Yet Rome feared them. The Spartacus revolt haunted the empire. Tens of thousands followed escaped gladiators and nearly destroyed Rome itself. After Rome crushed the rebellion, 6,000 men were crucified along the roads as a warning. That fear never faded. So Rome controlled gladiators with rewards: food, money, fame, and access. Sources mention it briefly, as if it were obvious. victorious gladiators were granted privileges. Historians believe this included access to female captives held beneath the arena. The real horror was underground. After a successful fight, a gladiator was escorted into the hypogeum. Oil lamps lit narrow tunnels. Lions paced in cages. Lifts waited for the next show. An official carried a tablet listing property. They stopped at holding chambers hidden from the crowd. Archaeology confirms these rooms existed across the empire. Small stone chambers with iron rings built into walls. Chains set into the stone. Benches placed deliberately. These were not makeshift rooms. They were designed. Women inside were catalogued by origin and condition. A guard unlocked a door. Sometimes the woman was brought out. Sometimes the man was sent inside. The door locked again. Roman writers did not describe what happened next because they did not need to. It was not considered wrong. It was routine. From the state's view, it was efficient. Captives cost nothing. The system reinforced the message of conquest. Victory meant ownership. Excavations beneath the Colosseum revealed rooms that served no other purpose. The scratch marks in the stone remain. Deep grooves made by fingernails. In Capua, inscriptions were found. Names. Prayers. One woman wrote that her children were dead and she was nothing. Another begged to die before morning. These voices never appear in Roman histories, but the stones remember. These rooms were built for repetition. This was not abuse hidden by individuals. It was infrastructure. Some argue this interpretation goes too far. But when architecture, written sources, and Roman military culture are combined, the conclusion becomes unavoidable. The women trapped in this system left almost no records. We know them only as inventory. Female, approximately 20 years old, good health, assigned to arena holding. Many came from total destruction, villages burned, children killed or taken. Long marches in chains, stripped, numbered, locked beneath monuments celebrating the empire that destroyed them. They heard the crowd above. They knew escape was impossible. Suicide was forbidden. Destroying state property was a crime. Even death did not free them. The humiliation was intentional. Josephus recorded that after crushing Judea, Roman authorities deliberately distributed women to soldiers and arenas. The message was clear. Rome does not just defeat enemies. It erases them. Occasionally the system exposed itself. Female gladiators existed, though rarely. Some were slaves. Some were nobles seeking power in a society that denied it. Roman elites were scandalized. When women fought publicly, Roman crowds turned it into sexual mockery. Emperor Septimius Severus banned female gladiators, not out of mercy, but because the illusion broke. The cruelty became too visible. The violence simply returned underground. The games continued even after Christianity became official. The last fight occurred in 404 AD. A monk tried to stop it and was killed by the crowd. The system did not end because Rome grew moral. It ended because Rome collapsed. Expansion stopped. Captives ran out. The machinery failed. Today, tourists walk through the Colosseum. They admire the arches. Guides speak of glory. The rings in the walls remain. The benches remain. The scratch marks remain. Ledgers still exist listing humans as property. This was not rumor. It was policy. Empire is not just monuments and parades. It is quiet destruction carried out again and again. The spectacle was what Rome wanted remembered. The truth lived below, and it is still there, waiting for those willing to see it.